Guys, welcome to my channel. This is my first ASMR video, but I don't know how to do ASMR, so we're just going with it. And I'm going to explain Twilight to you from memory. So I hope you enjoy. Okay, so essentially, Bella is the new girl in town, and she is from she's from Arizona or something. And then she comes into town and she's like all moody and she's like, oh, I hate rain. And it's always raining in Forks, Washington, because they're in Forks, Washington. And she's with her dad now because her parents are divorced. Her parents are divorced. And so then she meets Rudy Edward, and Edward's like, I'm so edgy. And so then, and so, and so then, ASMR. So then she's like, oh my god, who's that guy? He's so broody and edgy. And everyone's like, stay away from him, Bella. He's nothing but trouble. And she's like, but I want him. And then he disappears to Alaska for a week. He disappears for a week to Alaska. Alaska. I also don't know where the mic is on this camera. So he disappears to Alaska because he's like, oh my god, she smells so good, I'm gonna eat her. But he doesn't want to eat her. Um, and so he disappears, and then he comes back, and she's like, where were you? We're biology partners. And then they're biology partners, and they get to know each other really well. And then Bella almost dies. Bella almost dies while she's out on the town with her two friends. She almost dies. And so Edward has to save her from this evil group of random teens that are trying to essentially kidnap her and assault her. Um, and so then this isn't funny. This one's serious. Um, so then he saves her, and then they go to a restaurant, and she buys mushroom ravioli, and she's like, why are you eating anything? And he's like, I'm just not hungry, but really it's because he can't eat because he's a vampire. um and so then, oh god, we're only 3 minutes into this video. And so then they get to know each other really well. And also Bella has this friend named Jacob, and Jacob's like, stay away from Edward, Bella. Because they're childhood friends or whatever. And or really, Jacob's not at this point, but Jacob's dad is like, stay away from Edward, Bella, nothing but trouble. His name is Billy Black. He's in a wheelchair. We love disability rep. um what else happens? Ah, and so then so that so then so then so then so then so then so then um Edward's like, I love you, Bella, but you should stay away from me because I might kill you. And Bella's like, you would never kill me, Edward. You would totally kill her. And then she's like, say it. Say what you are. Say it out loud. And then he's like, I'm a vampire. And she's like, oh my god, I didn't know you were a vampire. And so then they start this whirlwind romance where everyone disapproves of them. And then an evil vampire, well, and then they play vampire baseball. They play vampire baseball, but then they draw the attention of the evil vampire who's hunting everyone in the town and eating people and bears and things. And so she's like, oh my god. And then he tries to kidnap Bella, and they go to Arizona where she's from. Um, because she thinks that the evil vampire killed her mom. So she has to go to Arizona. But then Bella goes to Arizona, and Edward's like, oh my god, Bella, how stupid can you be? I can't protect you in Arizona. So then he has to go to Arizona too, and then they fight, and then they kill that vampire. They kill the evil vampire. And so everything's great. Everything's dandy and grand, and they go to prom, they have their whirlwind romance. But then book two, this one's New Moon. So Edward and Bella are in love, everything is great, except that Bella then goes like to Edward's place for her birthday. I think it's her birthday because like vampires don't have birthdays. And so Bella goes to her place, but then she cuts her finger because she's so clumsy. She's so clumsy and she's so not like other girls. And so she cuts her finger and okay, so like no big deal, except that is a big deal. It's a huge deal because Jasper, who's like the newest vampire, he's like crazy. He's bonkers. He can like emotionally manipulate people. Like that's a superpower. And they're like, it's empathy. No, it's emotional manipulation. So Gaslight Gatekeep Girl Boss Jasper. And so then essentially like Jasper tries to eat Bella because she cut her finger and there's a son of blood and he can't control himself. Not Jasper's fault. But then Edward's like, we're just gonna hurt you, Bella. We can't be together. And Bella's like, oh my god, I'm fine. And like literally get over it. And Edward's like, no. And then he disappears. He disappears this time. Like no idea where he went. And so Bella's like all moody because her boyfriend just like dumped her and left. Like fled the state. Left. And so yeah, I'd be pretty mad too. And so then she like gets all upset and all depressed and she's like there's like a whole song about that plays. I know the song. I swear I know it. I swear I know it, and I really wish I could like whisper sing it to you right now, but I can't think of it. Um, and so and so then um Bella is like all sad. But then she realizes that if she has a near-death experience, she hallucinates Edward Cullen. So she starts like trying to do near-death experiences, particularly her bestie Jacob, who's like having his own moment. Um, like keeps getting motorcycles and is like want to ride a motorcycle and try to not die. And she's like, oh my god, what a great idea. And so like that's the like scene, the big scene. I think this is the book where Jacob's like, I'm a werewolf. Oh my god, don't you want to date me? I'm a werewolf because he's in love with her. We later find out he was just in love with Bella's uterus, but we're not there yet. We are not there yet. Um, and so then Alice is like, Alice like sees a vision. Okay, so Alice is like Edward's sister. Um, we met her in the last book. We love Alice. Alice is like my favorite just because she's like so adorable and so cute. We love Alice. But then like so she sees a villain, not a villain, a vision of Bella diving off a cliff, and she's like, "Oh my God, Bella died. Bella did not die. She's our protagonist. She's our main lady. No, she did not die." And so Bella tells Edward, she's like, "Oh my God, Bella's dead. We have to go back and make sure Bella's not dead." And Edward's like, "No, I'm just gonna trigger warning for like suicide." Um, that's not funny. I'm so sorry. Um, so Edward's like, I'm just gonna kill myself. And everyone's like, what? And he's like, I'm just gonna kill myself. I'm gonna go to Italy and kill myself. And so then Alice goes and she's like, oh my god, Bella, you're alive. And Bella's like, of course I'm alive. Why would I be dead? And then Alice explains everything. And Bella's like, oh my god, we have to go to Italy to save Edward and stop him from killing himself. Edward's plan to kill himself is just to strip naked in the middle of Italy. Like in the middle of this huge tourist city, he's just gonna strip naked. And everyone's gonna see he's a vampire because vampire skin is really sparkly. I could not make this stuff up, but Stephanie Meyer could. Um, and so Bella goes to save Edward, and Edward's like, "Oh my God, Bella, you're alive!" And she's like, "Yes, please put your clothes back on." And then they're like, "Fine," but then like he was already threatening to like do it and have like the vampire mafia kill him. And so then the vampire mafia is like, bruh, why is there a human? Humans aren't supposed to know about us vampires. And Edward's like, it's fine because I'm gonna marry her and turn her into a vampire, so it's like fine. And they're like, you have like 5 years or something like that. They give him like a time limit because like the vampire like mafia head is like, I really like Edward and I really like his sister because they're powerful and they have powers. Edward can read minds, by the way, but he can't read Bella's because Bella is like super special. Shout out to Bella. No one's like Bella. Um, it's like life is great, life is grand. Okay. New book, third book, Eclipse. This book is essentially just an entire book of Edward being like, let's get married. And Bella being like, what if you turn me into a vampire? And Edward being like, I'll turn you into a vampire if you get married to me. And then Bella's like, well, I want to have sex before I turn into a vampire. He's like, what if I become a vampire and I don't want to have sex anymore? And then Edward's like, what? And he's like, but we can't have sex until we're married. And Bella's just like, why? Um, yeah. But then Jacob's there too, and Jacob is like, bruh, why don't you want to date me? And Beth is like, because you're literally like 3 years younger and you're like a little brother to me. And then Jacob's like, because he's an angsty werewolf. Um, and then like from the guy from the first book, the evil vampire from book one, his girlfriend comes and is like, you killed my boyfriend. I have to kill you now. And so then she tries to kill them, but she raises like an army of baby vampires to try and kill them. And so then, with the army of baby vampires, she then comes to try to kill Bella and Edward. Okay, so the vampire girlfriend tries to kill Bella and Edward with her army of like baby vampires, right? Right. And then like of course like Edward and Bella win because they have Jasper, former Confederate soldier and leader of his own baby vampire army on their side, and also like the werewolves and vampires team up. Happy, healthy little love life. Okay, and that's book three. Book book four. Um, so this is like the final book. This is the big one, the holy moly. Um, So Bella's like, okay, Edward, I'll marry you. And Edward's like, awesome. And so they get married and then they have a honeymoon. And Bella's like, oh my God, why do we even need to be a vampire? Sex is so fun. Um, Legit. Um, and so they get married. Everything's great. Everything's fine. And then Bella's like, whoopsie daisies. I didn't know vampires could get you pregnant. And Edward's like, what? You're pregnant. And everyone's like, abort this. Every single person wants her to abort this baby, except for Rosalie, who's Edward's other like sister, who's like, no, Bella, you can die. You can die giving birth to this baby, and then I'll have the baby, and it'll be my baby, and you'll be dead. Um, because the baby is actively killing Bella. Bella's going to die if she has this baby. Bing, bang, boom. General consensus. And Edward's like, Bella, I love you so much. Please don't die. You can have as many babies as you want with your werewolf boyfriend. And Jacob's like, oh, sounds like a win to me. So yeah. But Bella does have this abomination of a child, and she names it Renesmee. She names it Renesmee. What a name. What a name. What a name. What a name. And the second that this baby is born, Jacob's like, werewolf mate. That's my mate. I'm imprinting on that baby. Um, wild. Wild. We let that happen. Someone wrote that down and said this is canon for one of the most influential franchises of our century, actually. Um, so Renesmee is a baby. She's mated to Jacob, who is an adult at this point, I think, or at the very least like 17. So there's a 17-year age gap. Um, but it's fine because Renesmee can talk to people even though she was born like 1 day ago because she has like this thing where okay, so since Edward can read people's minds and Bella can like stop people from reading her mind, um Renesmee's magic vampire power is that she can touch you and you can see what's in what she's thinking. Makes perfect sense. Right. Um, but also she's like physically maturing at an alarming rate. So like when she's 1 month old, she looks like 4 years old, and then it keeps going. I believe in canon, it's like she'll be physically fully mature by the time she's 8 years old, and so then the implications of that are awful and horrifying. Thank you very much. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Stephanie Meyer. Mayer? I don't even know how to pronounce her last name. Um, so yeah, but then, okay, so like turning a baby into a vampire is fully illegal. Like, don't do it. Like, for obvious reasons, because like when you're turned into a vampire, you're stuck at that age. And so the vampire mafia here is it's like, oh my god, why is there a baby vampire? That's messed up. And so then the mafia comes and is like, we have to kill this child, and we probably have to kill all of you guys too. And then they're like, no, 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 you don't understand. You don't understand. I gave birth to this baby. And they're like, oh, okay. And that's it. Like, they tried to raise an army to fight the mafia, but they didn't even have to fight. They just had them there. Um, There's like a fight scene in like the movies and books. I think there's one in the book too, but there's definitely one in the movies where they're like, this is what would happen if they did fight. But they didn't. They just talked it out. It's like assembling an army to go to your local government and be like, we should kill a baby. That's probably not a good comparison, but I still think it's funny. Um, so yeah, that's the plot of Twilight. I could go forever on like fun facts and details about Twilight, but I think that's enough for this chaotic video.